If you keep delaying things even when you want to start, this video will explain exactly why in simple terms. Not motivation quotes, not hacks, just the real reason your brain keeps putting things off. You sit down to work. You finally decide today is the day you'll focus. You open your laptop, look at the screen, and suddenly your brain feels heavy. So you check your phone just for a second. A notification turns into scrolling, and before you realize it, 10 or 20 minutes are gone. Then you feel guilty, frustrated, and you tell yourself the same thing again. I'm just lazy. But procrastination is not a personality flaw. It's a reaction your brain has learned over time. Here's something important most people never hear. Your brain is not designed to make you productive. Its main job is to keep you safe and comfortable. Thousands of years ago, that meant avoiding danger and saving energy. And even today, your brain still works the same way. Whenever it senses discomfort, like boredom, confusion, or the fear of doing something wrong, it tries to protect you by pushing you away from that feeling. That's when procrastination starts. So when you think about starting a task, your brain doesn't look at the reward in the future. It focuses on how the task feels right now. If it feels boring, overwhelming, or uncertain, your brain labels it as something to avoid. And instead of forcing you to work, it gently pulls you towards something easier, like your phone, videos, or daydreaming. This isn't weakness. It's your brain choosing short-term comfort over short-term discomfort. This is why motivation doesn't work the way people think it does. Many people wait until they feel motivated before they start. But motivation usually comes after action, not before it. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for your phone battery to charge without plugging it in. Nothing happens. The longer you wait, the heavier the task feels, and the more your brain wants to avoid it. Another mistake people make is believing procrastination means they don't care enough. But most of the time, it's the opposite. You procrastinate because you care. You want to do the task well, and that pressure makes your brain uncomfortable. So instead of starting imperfectly, your brain chooses to delay. This is why important tasks are often the hardest to begin. What your brain actually avoids is not work itself. It avoids uncertainty. When a task is unclear, your brain doesn't know what will happen next, and that feels risky. Tasks like study, be productive, or work on my goals are vague. Your brain can't picture the first step, so it hesitates, and that hesitation turns into procrastination. This is why breaking tasks into smaller steps works so well. When you clearly define the first tiny action, your brain feels safer. Instead of saying, I need to study, you say, I'll open the book and read one page. Instead of I need to work on my project, you say, I'll open the document and write one sentence. Small, clear actions lower resistance and make starting feel possible. One of the simplest and most effective ways to use this idea is something called the 5-minute rule. The rule is simple. You don't commit to finishing the task, you only commit to working on it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes feels safe to your brain. It doesn't feel like a trap or a big commitment, and because of that, your brain doesn't resist it as much. When you start for just 5 minutes, something interesting happens. The discomfort you were avoiding begins to fade. Your brain realizes the task isn't as bad as it expected, and once you're already moving, it becomes easier to keep going. Most of the time, 5 minutes turns into 10, and 10 turns into more. And even if you stop after 5 minutes, you still win because you broke the cycle of avoidance. This is why procrastination isn't something you should fight with willpower. Willpower runs out quickly, and fighting your brain usually makes things worse. Instead, think of procrastination as feedback. It's your brain telling you that the task feels too big, too unclear, or too uncomfortable. When you listen to that signal and make the task smaller, starting becomes much easier. The goal is not to force yourself to be productive all the time. The goal is to make starting feel safe. When you remove pressure, lower expectations, and focus only on the first small step, your brain stops resisting. Over time, this changes how you relate to work. You begin to trust yourself more because you stop relying on motivation and start relying on simple systems. So if you're procrastinating, it doesn't mean you're broken or lazy. It means your brain is protecting you in the only way it knows how. Try the 5-minute rule today and notice how different starting feels. And if you want to understand why motivation disappears so quickly, watch the next video where we break that down in the same simple way.